Good morning to you. This is Talk Breakfast with me, Julia Hartley-Brewer. Lots more to talk about, including that 9:45 Supreme Court decision on whether or not the Scottish Government can allow a vote in the Scottish Parliament to have a second independence referendum for Scotland without permission from the government in the Westminster for the UK. Well, let's talk about that right now with Mark Devlin. He's founder of The Majority. That's a voice for Scotland's anti-nationalist majority. Good morning to you.
Hi, Julia.
Well, I suppose that majority, 55% to 45% voted to stay as part of the UK, not for Scottish independence back in 2014. It was a once-in-a-generation vote.
That's completely correct.
And it turns out that just a few years later, a generation has passed, maybe on some council estates, I don't know. But that is not the case. But Nicola Sturgeon wants a chance to have a second independence referendum. She's gone to the Supreme Court, her Attorney General, to ask them to rule on whether or not they can do that. Talk us through what the Supreme Court judges have been asked to decide on specifically.
Well, the first thing I think to be aware of is that this is actually a judgment on whether the Scottish Government, which is a devolved administration, whether it can take decisions that affect the entire UK. I think a lot of people don't really understand that. So basically what Nicola Sturgeon is saying is that she wants the right to be able to hold this what is actually an advisory referendum on whether the UK could be broken up. Yeah. And the Scotland Act is very clear and says that decisions like that should be left to Westminster.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key thing, isn't it? A decision about what's devolved, so healthcare, education and things like that. That is a matter for the devolved government led by Nicola Sturgeon. But as you say, the decision for Scotland to leave the UK is a UK-wide matter. And I wouldn't mind it if we all got a vote. I know how I'd vote. It might not make you very happy.
Well, I mean, sometimes people say that. You know, I think I understand, I've heard you say that before. But I don't understand why anyone would give Nicola Sturgeon exactly what she wanted. and then why you would want to break up the UK. You know, we have break up territorial integrity, our social fabric, our economic security, and our military security. So I think it really is a matter for everyone in the UK.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. I mean, I have to say, you say it's what Nicola Sturgeon wants. See, I don't think it is. I think Nicola Sturgeon likes claiming, oh, those horrible people in Westminster, look at them, they're controlling us. That's why things aren't great here in Scotland. And actually, if there was I think if there was a referendum, she would lose it again. The polls suggest that most people in Scotland don't want a referendum. Even those who want independence don't want a referendum in the next few years. And that the polls would suggest that actually it would probably be a no vote again. The economics arguments which are argued against leaving the UK are even stronger right now, where we are. But I think that actually if she did get a referendum and she did win it, that would be a nightmare for the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon, because suddenly the Scottish people would be able to blame her for all the things that go wrong rather than saying it's all Westminster's fault.
I'm sorry, I don't think so. It's just a party based on grievance. So basically they would still blame, even if Scotland was independent, they would still blame, you know, the English for whatever it is. And so it's not going to stop that way. And basically we can't say the losers of a referendum don't make the terms for when there should be another one. And so it's all a big distraction, really, from the actual day-to-day disaster that is Nicola Sturgeon's administration. As you know, it's a huge, worst drug deaths in Europe, ferries that won't float. Every day is a new sexual or incompetent scandal. And this Supreme Court reference basically lets her distract her followers from her own failures.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that is the key thing, isn't it? We're going to hear that result of 5 judges who spent the last month examining 8,000 pages of legal arguments. They're set to deliver that at 9:45. There are 4 possible outcomes there, so we may not get anything definitive. But even if we did, do you think that would mean that a referendum would happen anytime soon? She wants one to happen next year.
Well, it doesn't even matter, because even if she wins, it's only an advisory referendum. Yeah. It's what we call a pretendy ref. It's basically a glorified opinion poll, and it can be ignored by the UK government. It can be boycotted, and it will be boycotted by the majority of Scots who won the last referendum, the real referendum. Yeah. So, various local authorities have already come out and said that they would boycott it.
Okay, really good to talk to you, Mark Devlin. We're going to get that result. I'd love to talk to you again another day. In fact, maybe tomorrow even, actually, about what we hear then. Mark Devlin from The Majority.